This item isn't a Vintage Toy Freedom fail per se, because I didn't buy it to open it. I bought it because it was really different and weird, and I had never seen it before. And I don't have any intentions of opening it, even if, though you see here, it's kind of coming apart. It's kind of coming apart there. But I just kind of wanted to show it off because it's such a rare item. I actually only have seen 2 others pop up online, and there's not a whole lot of information about it. So this is a G.I. Joe S.E.A.L swim combo with mask, fins, and snorkel. It's made by a company called Coral Diving Products, a division of ERO Industries in Mount Prospect, Illinois. And the copyright date on there is 1992. So obviously this is something a kid would take in a pool. They made a lot of random G.I. Joe merch. A lot of it was more kind of in the early days where you'd see things like a toothbrush or a belt or a watch or a kite or different things like that. So there isn't so much later in the line. I mean, the line ended, a couple years after this. So to find things from like 92, 93, 94, they didn't really make a whole lot of like branded merchandise because it was definitely sort of in a decline. A couple cool things about this. The card art is obviously really cool. And it obviously is showing Wetsuit, the kind of version 2/version 3, depending on how you want to look at that, which we have him right here. I always thought this version of Wetsuit was really cool because of the removable helmet. The original one from 1986, the helmet was molded on him. He was kind of like a teal color with an orange helmet. This one you can actually remove, and he's got the flippers, he's got the spear gun, and the helmet actually, sometimes with some of the figures, the helmet might be kind of big and clunky. I think the scale of this is actually really good, and he looks really, it looks really nice on him. And the black and white combo is pretty cool. He obviously comes with his sled here and some missiles. And then, as they did with quite a few figures in 91 and 92, they recolored them and released them under the Battle Corps banner. So here is the orange version. So this would be Wetsuit version 3. Excuse me. That would be 3, that'd be 4 because of the Special Mission Brazil. So there are those guys. He came with the same sled. Only difference is he has a yellow trigger and he has an orange trigger. So there's Mr. Wetsuit. So they obviously reused the card art. I also have the file cards right here to kind of show you. So what they did, yellow, orange, they just kind of recolored it a little bit. That's obviously using the orange one, which makes sense because this was 91, this was 92. So again, a really cool collectible. I've only seen a couple others pop up. It's not even on yojo.com. I had actually messaged somebody from yojo.com and said, hey, here's some pictures if you want to put it on your website, because they have a link, I guess, or a page that has just kind of miscellaneous items. So it's just something that you kind of want to archive and have some information about. So I imagine that there's probably like a warehouse with a box of these, maybe even a pallet of these somewhere, perhaps in Illinois, Mount Prospect, Illinois, because I feel like this is something, so that the price tag, I've not heard of the store, this isn't something we have around here, just closed out, so it was $4.99. You probably find this at like a drug shop or, maybe Toys R Us, I don't know. But I feel like this is something you'd find kind of at your local drugstore. And what's weird about it is it's pretty small. It says for ages 3 and up. So it's definitely for like a younger kid. It's definitely not, if you're like 7, 8, 9, it's probably the mask and the flippers wouldn't fit you. So it's definitely for a smaller kid. So I don't know, I can't imagine this thing was something that was just flying off the shelves. And again, you know, unfortunately, the G.I. Joe line was kind of in a decline here. One thing I do want to mention is I had, I guess, something, I don't know if you want to call it similar to this, around this time. So it was actually, yeah, probably around 92. And I had a Halloween costume of the 1991 Snake Eyes. And if you aren't familiar with what he looks like, there's the 1991 Snake Eyes. So he's got the red goggles, kind of the black, I guess the mask, you know, he's got a silver mask and then kind of the black, you know, the rest of it's kind of black. So I actually had that. It was a mask, and I don't know if it came with a toy gun or it probably came with like a throwing star. And I don't really remember what else it came with. But it's another thing that's actually pretty hard to find. I've only seen that pop up maybe once or twice. And kind of a funny story about that. So I was in 4th grade. So yeah, I would have been about 9, which would have been 1992. And, you know, in 4th grade, you're getting kind of big for toys. You know, like your kids were really, like, I feel like 3rd grade kids were getting to like sports. And I like sports, but I also like G.I. Joes. I like comic books. I like video games. I like wrestling a little bit. And, but there weren't a lot of other kids like into toys, or at least very openly into toys. That was kind of when it's starting to get not cool when you're like 3rd, definitely 4th grade for sure. And so I almost didn't wear. We were allowed to wear our Halloween costumes to school, and I almost didn't wear it because I was kind of embarrassed. But I was like, you know what? Like, I thought it was so cool. I mean, Snake Eyes, like, that's obviously so many people's favorite character. You know, and this is the Snake Eyes I grew up with because, you know, the Snake Eyes version 1, I was too young for. Even Snake Eyes version 2, I was too young for. And Snake Eyes version 3, for some reason, I never had that. I never really acquired that or saw that. So to me, this was the Snake Eyes I had. The comic books, you know, the Ninja Force and things like that, the G.I. Joe comic books from Marvel, this is how he looked. So to me, this is what I knew Snake Eyes as. And it's a still pretty cool sculpt. I mean, you know, to have that as a Halloween costume, you're looking exactly like him because you got the black kind of, it's not really a hood, but, you know, I guess it's a, you know, a mask, the silver face covering the goggles. So, you know, you're looking pretty close to Snake Eyes. And, you know, I worked at school. I was a little hesitant, but I was like, you know what, whatever. I just thought it was so cool. And I didn't get teased. I didn't get made fun of. Like, a couple of kids were like, hey, that's a cool costume, you know. You know, so it ended up being a success for 9-year-old Josh. So I just kind of wanted to mention that because there was, you know, there were some other random G.I. Joe merchandise out there at the time. Obviously, this isn't a Halloween costume, but I guess if you wanted to be wetsuit, maybe you could kind of, you know, buy this and pretend to be him, even though it looks nothing like it. But again, you know, not something I intended to open. It is pretty, you know, the plastic wrap on it is very thin. And you can see here, you know, that buckle's kind of piercing that. Up here, kind of where the snorkel has pierced that plastic. But just, again, something I wanted to share because it's something that's, you know, pretty rare. It doesn't necessarily mean it's valuable. I don't remember what I paid for this. I got it at auction on eBay a few years ago. Some guy, I think it was his uncle, had died, and he was auctioning off his G.I. Joe collection, and I just saw this, thought it was cool, and wanted to acquire it. It's interesting. It has a 1-year warranty, which is obviously expired, so that Coral Diving Products, a division of ERO Industries in Hazelhurst, Georgia. So maybe there's a warehouse in Hazelhurst, Georgia with a bunch of these. It says that it is not Coast Guard approved, so you gotta be careful with that because you don't want to drown. So thanks for watching. I know I always tell you to open your toys and play with them. This isn't really a toy, but a toy related thing. But you know, sometimes obviously we're gonna keep things intact because it's pretty rare, pretty neat, and you know, I guess you could call it a piece of history. It's just kind of an oddball item. I know there's a lot of people who like some of those oddball things. I'm one of them. Proud to own this. Happy to share this with you, and yeah, maybe we'll see it on yojo.com soon.